You are listening to WHOA Podcast, coming to you from Gainesville, Florida. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the WHOA GNV Podcast, the podcast bringing you businesses and individuals that make you go, whoa.
Whoa. I thought we did that at the end.
We got some beginners in the room, everybody. Got some beginners in the room. It's all right. Don't worry. Don't sweat it, Elias.
I'm sweating it already.
Today on the show, we have Rachael Wacha, CEO and Chief Disruptor of City Auto Repair, a local family-owned auto repair shop since 1981. This thing was started before you were born.
That's right.
You just told me you were born in 85.
That's right.
I just told your age to everybody. Hope you don't. Hope you don't mind. Welcome to the show.
Thanks.
I'm super excited to have you.
I'm excited to be here.
Are you?
Thank you.
Do I need to turn up your volume a little bit, or are you excited to be here?
Super pumped.
Excellent. Well, it's going to be fun to share your story. I met Rachael for the first time a couple months ago, and just really clicked. Obviously we have a lot of similarities when it comes to like the service industry, and I think that it's great to have somebody that I can actually like talk to about that kind of stuff now, who's also a business owner.
Yes.
So I'm really excited to be able to share your story with everybody else as well. So, but before we do, I have one of my awesome interns right here co-hosting with me today. And you guys, just a heads up, like Ty is coming back. I have talked to him and he is coming back. Probably not next week, but maybe the week after. But today we have Elias Gonzalez, a repaint the wall intern extraordinaire. You wrote this for yourself.
I did.
I was like, besides Mike, I don't know if I've really introduced the co-host in this kind of way.
I want to make sure people know how important I am to this endeavor.
Repaint the wall, intern extraordinaire, and lead mentor at Gator Slam. What's Gator Slam?
Gator Slam is a professional organization dedicated to helping students develop their skills in sales and leadership. And it's done through mentoring, but this is our first year, so I've been helping out my professors with that, and I'm lead mentor at that. So
really?
So yeah.
Why didn't you ever tell me this?
I don't know. I started this semester, and you had already hired me by then, so I just felt like
learn something new every day, folks.
Yeah.
Learn something. Well, cool, man.
Yeah,
well, thanks for
being
being
a startup, so I got something now.
How's your internship in this semester?
Really good, actually. I've really enjoyed working here since October, and
he has to say this because I'm basically his boss.
No, but I do mean it though. It is kind of sad because I'm graduating this semester, so it's coming to an end. But I've had a really good time, especially with the podcast. I mean, this was the main reason why I wanted to be in the internship, because I wanted to work with podcasts and learn more about them, because I got into podcasts last year. So yeah, I thought this would be a good experience if I ever wanted to work in a podcast.
So. Yeah, you've done a great job. So everybody knows Elias has really been kind of that primary contact for our guests, reaching out to the guests, getting them all the information on where to go, how to get here, getting everything that I need in order to do the show. And you've done a good job, man.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
It's been fun.
Yeah, it's been great.
So now we got school finishing up, and
graduating in May.
Yeah, dude, congrats, man.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
You're entering the real world.
Yeah.
Doesn't that scare you shitless?
It's a little scary having to, because I already have a job offer and I know I'm going to be moving. So it's a little scary knowing that I have to get my own apartment.
Can you tell us about it or no?
Yeah, I can talk about it.
So where'd you get a job at?
I got a job with Oracle in Boston. It's a sales position. So I'm going to be moving there in June, and yeah, I've been looking at apartments and all this stuff, and it's exciting but a little overwhelming at the same time, because I have to pay rent on my own for the first time, pay bills, and I'm looking into public transportation because I don't want to get a car, and so it's a lot of
scooter, baby, stuff.
Scooters, yeah. Well, I mean, I'm just mostly worried about the snow. I don't know how.
Man, scooters and snow go great together. What are you talking about?
Great plug.
E-bike, maybe.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm thinking of that and buses and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm just looking into the logistics of it right now. Maybe a friend of mine is going to be going up too. So
I got you. I know a guy.
Oh, you know a guy?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Not up there, no. I mean, I know a guy here that sells scooters and e-bikes that you can.
Oh. I'll make sure to check one up. But yeah, it's exciting.
Well, I'm glad you're here, man.
Thank you.
Thank you for all your work this semester. Good luck in Boston. I'm glad I have a place to stay when I go up there now.
Yeah, definitely.
Connections, all about the relationships, baby.
Yeah, that was one of our themes last episode, I think.
Oh, yeah. Cool. And today is April 15th. It's tax day. So make sure you get those taxes in this morning. get that taken care of. And of course, like I have to, you guys, so we don't know, we've been trying to figure this out when we're actually going to give away this wrap. I've had a lot of people asking about the Wrap Spot sponsorship giveaway, giving away a wrap, a $2,500 vehicle wrap. And all you have to do is go to WHOAGNV.com, click giveaway, and just register to win. It's a really, really short form. Once you do that, then you are entered to win. And like I said before, you can have other people also enter to win, and then they can like donate it to your business if they win. So we're thinking right now, it's mid-April. We're thinking this is going to be given away like mid-May is what we're going for. Maybe my birthday, May 17th.
Yeah.
That's a Friday. Maybe we'll give it away on my birthday. That'd be
perfect.
fun.
Yeah.
That'd be exciting.
All right, so that's it. May 17th is the giveaway day. Make sure somebody tells Allison. Yeah. Allison's my COO of Repaint, who kind of helps me keep all this stuff organized. So let's make sure she knows. And so go sign up. Wrap Spot, thank you so much for your support. And I'm looking forward to giving that away. It's going to be awesome. So, and I had something really exciting happen to me last night.
What was it?
Did you see my Slack message?
Oh, yeah. But I was at the library.
Yeah.
So I didn't pay
What
too much
happened?
attention.
So last night I was laying in bed and I saw Gary Vanerchuck go live on Instagram. Do you know who he is?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I like him.
So he goes live on Instagram and he like throws something up saying that, hey, if you subscribe to his Empathy Wines,
Mm-hmm.
like by the case or whatever, which I've become a wine drinker in the last year because
good.
we went to Italy last year and it was incredible and
I
we drank some
bet.
really good wine and came back and I was like, okay, now I'm a wine drinker. That's all it took. But he was like, if you subscribe to this, then we're gonna call you. I'm like, all right, let's see how this goes down. So I actually I went and I subscribed, and sure enough, they called me. I had a 10-minute conversation with Gary Vanerchuck last night.
No way.
Yeah, it was awesome.
so
we recorded
cool.
it. Maybe we'll clip it in. We're
Yeah,
gonna
you
tell Ronald to like clip a little piece of that in, and show everybody. It was kind of cool. I mean, I've been following the guy for years, and I just watched his company grow, watch him grow as an entrepreneur, and it's obviously he's been an inspiration to me. So it was pretty unique to have a 10-minute conversation with the guy.
How did it go?
It was good. It was good. I asked him if people are wondering, I asked him a question because he was like, hey, do you have any questions? And actually I had a question around vlogging because I'm like, I was like, are you guys getting everybody to sign releases? Like what, is that a thing? I was like, because I see that you blur some people's faces out. Is that because they wanted you to, or is it because, or you bleep out like people's numbers if somebody's like talking, getting granular about their numbers or something, they'll bleep it out. I'm like, is that like something that you're doing and or something that they're requesting? And he was like, no, it's like a subjective call, very much something that my team just kind of knows. And they kind of feel out. And he said occasionally they've put up like a piece of content that they've had to like go back and take down and then clean that up a little bit. But he's like, no, it's all on the fly. It's just whatever's happening. So I was like, all right, cool. I just want to make sure because I'm vlogging a lot now.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you haven't checked out my vlog, I'm gonna give myself a plug on that actually. Go to collinaustin.tv. Check out my YouTube channel. I have a vlog that's called All In with Collin, and All In with Collin. And you can actually like check out some of the interactions that I'm having around town, and when I'm going to business meetings and stuff, I just have a camera following me and capturing a lot of the stuff. And if I'm speaking or doing speaking engagements around town, like I'll capture that kind of stuff a lot, and it's cool. It's fun. It's kind of a ongoing documentary of my life.
I've seen a couple episodes.
And the podcast stuff, the behind the scenes podcast stuff often gets behind there and like in there as well, which is kind of cool. Yeah. So anyway.
Transparency.
Yeah. Which is what, it's funny because that's what's made this so great. Somebody, we got asked recently in Business in Greater Gainesville magazine article that's actually should be out this month, like April. I say that because for everybody who's listening knows that we're recording in March right now. we're usually about a few weeks ahead. But But for April, they put it out and they were asking me about the success and why do you think the podcast has gotten so much traction? And I said, it's because of the transparency of our guests. There's no doubt about it. Like getting in here, and one, like everybody kind of seeing somebody in, you know, in the Gainesville network that they know or heard of, and then getting a little more granular, a little bit more transparent and talking about real issues. And that's just helping everybody build up and realize, you know, it's cool because I think people are starting to realize that you're not alone.
Yes.
You know, entrepreneurship, we talk about it all the time. Entrepreneurship is a very lonely thing. And I've talked about the multiple times I've been like in the bathroom, like locked away, crying. It's a real thing. And so when you can hear other people's stories or hear other people's challenges, knowing that one, you're not alone in that, but also learning what other people do in those situations, I think is proving to provide a lot of value to our Gainesville audience and hopefully to a bigger audience one day. And I don't know, so it's been super inspiring to me, and I think it's because of the transparency of our guests, like when we get on here and we talk about these real things. So I'm going to stop talking now, and I'm going to let you start talking.
Okay.
Rachel, thanks for being here.
Yeah,
I'm super, super excited to dive into this a little bit and hear your story. So why don't you start by like kind of giving us your origin story? Maybe you might even have to go back a little bit further because the company started in 1981. So, you know, what it was like, because I know that you've kind of grown up in that element, right?
Sure.
Because it was your dad's, and then now you're the owner. And I'd love to hear a little bit more about that transition.
Okay.
So get it to us.
So born and raised right here in Gainesville. So Dad started the business in 1981. I was born in 85. You know, Dad, as a lot of entrepreneurs, when you start a business, that's where you are all the time. So Dad wasn't home a lot, and I'm sure there was lots of challenges with that. I have 3 siblings, so I have twin brothers and a sister, and I'm sure that was really challenging for my mom and my dad, you know, growing up. So when people, you know, ask if I was raised in the business, I guess yes and no. I wasn't raised in the business as far as like being there with Dad all the time. I was raised up just learning about business and entrepreneurship and watching my dad, you know, get it every day. Dad worked really hard. So you want my backstory on like what I did before automotive industry?
Tell me everything.
Oh, okay. Well, I think, you know, after high school, I really wasn't sure what I was going to do. I had an opportunity to go work at a spa, so that was fun. And then I had a really great leader. You know, she babysat me ever since I was 2. So she started this company, and I just remember seeing her hustle and hustle and hustle and hustle. She just didn't stop. I mean, she got every license she possibly could get to be able to do all the services at the spa. She's just made it. It's beautiful. It's here locally. It's Spa Royale. And I learned a lot from her. I ended up getting my aesthetics license, so I did waxing, facials, a lot of bridal makeup, and I did that for a few years. And then I had my son at 22, and it kind of, you know, changes your life a little bit. I realized at one point that it wasn't what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. I enjoyed what I was doing, making people feel good, you know, and feel beautiful. Like, that is impactful to me. And then when I decided not to do that anymore, I did insurance for a year, and I was working for a friend, and I just did not enjoy it at all. It was very negative. Like, people didn't really enjoy talking to me, writing property and casualty insurance, and it wasn't for me. So at that point, that was in 2010, in July, my dad's like, he came and brought me breakfast. And I remember he has this massive, I don't even know where he got it from, but it's like this massive breakfast, massive. And I remember him taking a picture of me, like sitting there eating it. I'm like, this is crazy. And I just remember him saying like, well, why don't you come and work at the shop? Because he knew I wasn't happy. And I'm like, and do what? You know, because honestly, I didn't know the difference between coolant, oil, none of that. I didn't know how many fluids were in the car. I didn't know anything. I knew Dad would always take care of it because that's what he did. So I said yes, because why not, right? I didn't have a job title. There wasn't anything like, this is what you're going to do when you get there. So when I went there, I kind of created my own job in a sense. The place was a typical independent repair shop, I guess. It was dirty, and the floors hadn't been like waxed or cleaned in like 10 years. So I just spent almost a year like thoroughly cleaning up the place, getting signs hung that hadn't been hung, that had just been sitting there. I didn't know what else to do. I mean, I don't know. It was easy, you know, just go there and get dirty and clean up and whatever. And one day, one of my dad's peers that had been in the industry a long time said that he needed to put me on the front counter. And again, I remember thinking, and do what? Like, I have no idea how to do this. And he just was so adamant about it because he knew, he's known me for a long time, and he knew that I love people. And that it would be easy for me because I didn't have the knowledge. It was a little actually easier because then you're not talking over a customer's head. Because 9 times out of 10, the customer has no idea, you know, what's needed or what's being done. So it was really easy. And then when I realized, okay, so the customer doesn't have any idea, great, because I don't either, but I'm going to figure it out. And I would just go and ask the technicians. I'd get into the car and I'd be like, so how does this work? Tell me how the system works. I mean, numerous times. I would drive them crazy. And then it would allow me to be able to tell the customer how it works and all that. And things just kind of happened. One after the other. I mean, we'd get rid of people that worked there. They had been there, 20 years, 17 years, and it was super challenging. Dad was really bad about firing people, so I had to figure that out. And I know we kind of spoke about this a little bit, but my first fire was a guy that had been there like 17 years, and I knew that he didn't need to be there anymore. But Dad wasn't going to do it. So it ended up being, I would say, at least 20, 30-minute conversation, which, when you fire someone, it's not a conversation.
Right.
You've made your decision. And I remember it became, in that long conversation, it became so personal, more personal. And I remember I kept saying, this isn't personal. It's not personal. It's not personal. But it became so personal because it was this long, drawn-out thing, right? And then I remember after I told him, like, basically, I wanted to give him a check, like, here, you're done, like, bye, good luck. And I remember going in the bathroom and just crying like a little baby. And then I remember just doing that whole, like, all right, let's go, next. Like, and I don't know what hit me or, like, maybe because I knew that Dad wouldn't do it. So I knew I had to step up to the plate. I'm not really sure what triggered inside of me, but I learned then that it's not a discussion, when you fire someone. Like, you've already made your mind up, they've already fired themselves, and I just have to tell them, So I learned a lot through that. And then, let's see, in 2012, I would say the technician that was on the front that, he wasn't in the back anymore, real heavy set guy, and he had a lot of disability issues, moving around and stuff. And so just to picture it, I mean, a technician, like the way you picture a technician, but a real heavy guy, burly, dipped up front, didn't greet you when you walked in the door, kind of said no a lot, real, like, almost in a sense, I feel, looking at customer service, he kind of made you feel like you were disrupting him, like you were messing up his day. Mm-hmm. And so I convinced Dad, for like 8 or 9 months, I'm like, he's got to go. Like, he's not the face of the business. And what ended up happening was he had taken a couple weeks off around Christmas, and then he threw out his back. And I doubled sales in like a really short amount of time. And Dad's like, okay, she can do this, I think. And Dad was like, yeah, you're right.
That was just because you stepped in and you were up at the front. And
yeah, and I just jumped in. Like, I don't know, I guess that's something. I'm quick to jump in. I see someone needing help, or I see a situation where I can be helpful. And I'm quick to jump in the situation. So he ended up firing him, and things just kind of took off from there. Doubled sales in a year. Started getting some attention. People were watching me, which is always crazy when you realize people are watching you, because that's not why you're doing it. So then things kind of trickled from there. Got into some groups and surrounded myself with other shop owners, because Dad, I love him, but he taught me a lot of ways not to do business. And so I took that as a positive, because that's one of the things I do. I always try to find the positive in everything.
I think a lot of that has to do with just the time change. just the evolution of business over time.
It's changed a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm very just kind of interested looking back to businesses from the 80s, 70s. I mean, just older companies that have been around a long time, and I don't want to say complacency, though. That could be a part of it. I mean, maybe it is. It's just very much kind of just getting set in a standard in a way, and they just kind of get trapped there. Not saying that's the case with you guys at all. Like I have no idea, obviously, but it's just something that it's just something I've I don't know that I see often as companies that are very, very special end up just kind of becoming complacent over time, and then they stop. They forget about the things that made them so special in the early days, and culture shifts, and
Well, so change is the only constant, right? And as entrepreneurs, I think that we are the leaders of that, and we are constantly having to see the change and constantly having to come on guys, it's going to be great. Let's improve this. It's going to be fabulous. And it's exhausting, right? And then I think at some point throughout that entrepreneurship, if you aren't fueling yourself and surrounding yourself with other entrepreneurs or other shop owners, in my situation, you get complacent. And it's the same thing every day, and you feel alone, and you feel like no one understands you. And I don't know, I think you just get burnt out. And I think that was my dad's issues. He was burnt out, and I brought the spark back. So he just kind of let me run with it and realized all right, she's, full of it, right? I'm ready to go and dive in. And he's peacing out. So I totally agree with you. The complacency is insane. And that's why I think it's so important to surround yourself, get in groups and mastermind groups, like things that you've done. I mean, it's so impactful for people because you are so alone. And it's a way that you are giving back to the community by helping them remember where their spark is.
It's interesting because when I hear your story, it reminds me of a story here a little bit. You really assumed a lot of these responsibilities. When that guy hurt his back, you just kind of naturally stepped in because it was what was needed.
Right.
And then boom, sales spike. It's oh my gosh, this young lady knows what she's doing.
Not really, but I just do it. I just figure it out.
But I mean, well, and that's that's probably a good lesson in itself, is that, I think sometimes the best leaders are made when they are pushed out of their comfort zone, 100%. And they take action on things that they're not normally going to take action on because it's what's necessary in that moment.
Right.
And it reminds me because it's a lot of people don't know. We had Mike on the show the last couple weeks, and Mike's my CEO of New Scooter Celeste now, and a lot of people he started off. Well, I mean, I knew him in 2005 when he started. He came in and started working for us part-time, was helping us with just daily tasks and unloading trucks and different things. And then when I split with my partner, he actually left for a while, was still in school, and then ended up coming back around later and started when I was looking for a truck driver. So he came back in, and he was the guy who went out and picked up scooters with the pickup truck. And funny because we had a general manager, and he ended up leaving. There's a death in his family and some things that kind of rocked his world. Well, when that happened, Mike just assumed those responsibilities. He just started picking up the slack naturally.
That's a real leader. Yeah,
he just picked up the slack naturally, really assumed those responsibilities, and the same thing. I mean, now he's the CEO of this company.
Wow, that's awesome.
So it's cool to see somebody go from truck driver to CEO, all because they stepped in when it was necessary. And it was very much outside of the comfort zone. It wasn't, it was what had to be done in that moment. So it sounds very similar to what happened with you. All right, so carrying on. So you ended up, during that, you increased sales. Now you're going back and forth. Now you're this, I don't want to say pretty face at the counter, but
right.
You're in a place that you're female. You're at the counter in a very male dominated space,
mm-hmm.
right? Where there had been, people who might not have been as welcoming, right?
Very much.
And
so.
then that led to the spike in sales, and now you're the business owner.
I am.
How did that? So where did that?
There was a transition there.
Happen? Yeah.
So I think shortly after I got on the front counter, there was this company that someone introduced me to the company. It's Automotive shop, and they're out of Jacksonville, and I don't know how many stores they have now. At that time, maybe they had 6 or 7. And they were like, yeah, come into the shop, come check it out, like spend a few days with us, meet our people, see how we do things. And I'm thinking, what a great opportunity. Like, heck yeah, go into someone else's shop. I mean, Dad's shop's all I ever knew. I didn't even been in a dealership before. So I learned a lot by talking to the people. Well, these 2 owners were so willing to help me. And looking back now, I'm like, I never thought that there was a reason. I just thought that they were helping me because, that's what people do. Well, the reason is eventually they made an offer to buy my dad out, to move to Gainesville, and they were going to open up 3 stores total, and I was going to run them for them. So backstory of that, working with family is tough.
Yeah.
It's
I've done it.
really, really hard.
I still do it.
Yeah, you do. I wouldn't necessarily change it, but there was a lot of struggles, and there was a lot of times where I just was done. I didn't want to work with my dad anymore. I couldn't handle it. It was a lot of weight. And so this company was going to buy out my dad, and I felt like, okay, great. Like, because I didn't have the money to buy out Dad. I knew Dad needed to get out. And so I was talking, my husband and I weren't married at the time, but we were talking about a lot of things. And I'm like, okay, this is great. I won't have pros and cons list. I mean, totally like wrote it down on paper. Like, okay, these are all the things I won't have to deal with anymore. These are all the things that they'll take care of. But then there was that sense of like, why have I worked so hard to essentially get 10% maybe of the 3 companies, that they were going to open for me? And I'm like, there was just some desire to own the business. So I kind of pissed them off because I all of a sudden one day just called them up and I was like, yeah, I decided not to do that, and they were banking on me. But I had to do what was right for myself and what was right for my family. And then in the mix of all that, I also had this guy that was like a sales representative for one of our vendors, and he was super supportive of me. And randomly one day in the mix of all of that craziness going on, he's like, well, what if I partner with you? If I bring money to the table, we're business owners together, and have a partnership. And I'm like, that sounds great, So we did that for a short amount of time. He was going to take money, put it down. We had these banks. We were going to buy the whole kit and caboodle, the business and the property and everything. Well, my husband and I had gotten married. That was in 2014. We got married in 2013. I was pregnant in 2014. My daughter was in November. I had her in November 16th. And in the mix of all that, we had a couple banks deny us. Like, him and I would fight over the AC temperature, or like crazy pregnant lady, 78 degrees, not happening. Just not gonna happen. Like, I have to be comfortable. But we would argue about, this partner and I, we would argue about so many things, and it was like, I just remember thinking, one day he walked out. We were dealing with a situation, and he just got pissed off, and he peaced out and left. And I remember thinking, that's not okay. Like, if you're gonna peace out in this moment, what are you going to do when shit really hits the fan? Like, really, what are you going to do? And I just remember, that was that whole weekend, that was what was going through my head. And we ended up splitting ways. He, all of a sudden, one day, my dad was talking to him. I was running the front counter, super pregnant. And I remember Dad going, hold on a second. And he's like, Rachel, get in here. And I come in the office, and the business partner, basically, he was just like, yeah, this isn't for me anymore. And I'm like, okay. And Dad's like, well, can you at least stay till she has the baby? Like, she's got 6 more weeks, And he's like, no. And I'm like, okay, like, all right. Because it was just him and I running the business. My dad didn't even know how to write up a ticket anymore because I had totally changed everything. Dad was just there because he didn't know what else to do. So I had to kind of teach both my parents, like, how to do a couple things, just to get the business by while I had her. And then, like, I think 3 days after I had her, I went back to work with her. Like,
oh my God.
Got this.
Entrepreneur life.
Yeah, and she was there with me every day pretty much for 10 months until she started walking. And then I was like, yeah, no. I mean, auto repair shop, little infant, no. So I got her in school, and then I stopped and I looked back and I'm like, holy crap. Like, I just had a baby, went through all this transition, like this is super crazy, and had her with me. Like, I don't even know how I did that, but you just do it. And it's kind of like what we were talking about earlier, like you just do what you got to do to get through it. I don't know that I'd ever want to do that again. This was kind of tough. But it made me stronger, you know, it made me tougher. It made me realize that I can, I don't know, deal with that chaos and craziness and do whatever I need to do. So past that, Dad and I came up with a deal. January of 2016 is when I bought the business from him. And then we had a contract, like 10-year option to buy the property and all that, because he owed more money on the property than he bought it for in 1985, which was crazy, right? Mm-hmm. And I didn't understand that. You know, now looking back a little bit, you can see how easy that is to happen, right? Because you spend money and then you want to do something else, so you refinance and you go through all these transitions. I don't ever want to do that. I want to get the building paid off and do all those things, you know. I don't want to keep refinancing. But I bought the building from him in November of 17, and that was tough. He was pretty pissed. I don't think he talked to me for almost 2 weeks because he was losing his rent, right? Mm-hmm. And I learned through my transition with him that I had to separate it. I had to separate family and business. I still haven't figured that out 100%, but I kind of figured it out. And so at that moment when I told him that I got approved, I mean, I didn't just tell him like, oh, I'm going to buy the building. Like, I had already gotten approved and everything. Like, it was happening. And his disappointment in his face, I mean, he was utterly shocked. One, that I was able to make the numbers look that good that quick. And two, that, I mean, I got an opportunity. A bank said yes. And I'm like, are you sure you're going to give me that kind of money? Sweet. You know, great. Let's do this. And I looked at Dad because he was so mad. And I said, well, did I make a good business decision? And he's like, well, yeah. And I'm like, got to separate it. I love you, but I got to take care of me now. Like, this is what I have to do. I've been taking care of you and Mom and figuring everything out. Like, I had to tell my parents how to budget money. I mean, it was tough. Yeah. But I knew that I was making the right decision, and I had to do what I had to do. Not that I want to hurt people along the way, but sometimes that happens. And we got to get over it, you know?
Yeah, it's tough.
Suck it up, buttercup.
I've worked with family too, and it's been great lessons. I mean, for sure. Like, I don't regret any of it. But it's definitely tough. It's definitely challenging. There's
a lot of entrepreneurs that work with family. You know, in the shop groups that I'm a part of, I see a lot. You know, there's spouses that work together, son and, you know, parents, daughter and father. I mean, there's a lot of really, really great, you know, shop owners that family is orchestrated in it. Just wasn't for me.
Yeah.
It wasn't for me.
That's cool. I mean, now, like, you know, my brother is our service manager here, and like, he's awesome. I mean, he's doing so great, and just to see him grow over the last several years to where he is today as a leader has been really, really inspiring, just for me to see somebody like have that kind of growth and stuff. But
I mean, I love family. Family is, Dad raised us. I mean, family is massive. You know, my brothers and I, my sister, we're all really, really close, and we love each other dearly. And we have a really fabulous relationship. Like, I know no matter what, I can always rely on them. But working together, like, we joke, my husband and I'm like, I just love you so much, I don't want to work with you. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm so dominant at work. That's challenging, right? And then I want to be a lady when I go home to my husband. So I don't know a lot of the females in auto repair shops that have their husband working for them. I've never met one. I've met the opposite, you know, or where they're a team and it's 50-50, kind of more equal. But having, you know, my husband come into the business would be, I don't know, challenging.
So this is your baby now, like.
Yes.
I mean, I know, like, having conversations with you and the opportunity, I think it's cool because I know that you see a real opportunity ahead of you for really empowering women through this.
I do.
That's kind of what's, like, really inspired me, just seeing how you're using this opportunity to really educate women on the auto industry, on their automobiles, and feeling empowered to have those conversations with their mechanics and that kind
Absolutely.
of thing. I know, hold on, what was the name? I know that you have like a little...
Lipstick and Dipsticks.
Yeah, so these are like little shop classes.
Car care clinics, yeah.
Car care clinics that you do?
So just to like...
Lipstick and Dipsticks, is that what you said?
Right? So like maybe I think of that from doing makeup and skincare and all that, right? So the lipstick side of it. And then the dipsticks, there's more than one dipstick typically in a vehicle. So I don't know, it was like a little pun. And it was cool. So one of the reasons that I fell in love with this industry was because I could be impactful to these women that have had horrible, horrible experiences. When I heard stories and I heard the scare tactics that were being used to convince these people, these women mostly, to spend money in these shops, I'm just like, oh, heck no. And it really thoroughly ticked me off. And I'm like, okay, what can I do to use what I've got, right? I'm in a male-dominant industry. I'm a female, so that right there gets, in a sense, attention. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm a female. Like, people come to that shop because it's a woman-owned shop. Like, I'm like, okay, like, that's great, right? So you got to use what you got. When I heard some of these stories, I just felt that I needed to empower these people. And how do I do that? So at the time I was in B&I, so I started with like reaching out to some of them, like, come to the shop and let me show you a couple of things. And there's programs out there, like Knowledge is Power is one that AC Delco puts on, and they've kind of helped shops to support car care clinics for women. So I kind of just figured it out as I went. So I started saving like old parts, and then I could buy new parts and like show them, like, right? Because most people are visual. So when you can see it, like, how easy is it for me to sell a job? Like, it's super easy. So educating them on that. And now I do it to where like there's stations and teach them how to change a spare tire. And my whole thing is like, would you want to be stuck on the side of the road and waiting for some creepy guy to stop and like, hey, you want me to help you change your tire, and you're like super uncomfortable for 20, 30 minutes, or do you want to do it? Like, it's not that, it just sounds hard, and it's just because you don't know. It's really not that hard. And you got all this body, like, you can jump on it and you can make it happen. You can do this. And what I found out of it is I get such a reward out of empowering these women and giving them a sense of empowerment, encouragement, and knowledge, and it's just the little things, and they get super excited about it. And I'm like, this is so cool. And
How often do you do them?
Well, so my goal, I would love to do them monthly. I would love to have it to where, say, like the third Wednesday of the month at this time, we do a car care clinic. I haven't made that happen. I have recently just done them for like people that request it. Like, I think the Junior League, I'm doing one next month for them. I've done them for a couple sororities, just random groups of women. Gainesville Area Women's Network gone, done one for them, like a workshop. So right now it's just kind of when it's requested. And as long as I can get at least like 15 people, to come, then we're good. And then I have a couple of my guys help me, run the different workshops. And I change it up every time, give something away. We've had people come in and talk beforehand. I now have people that want to sponsor, different ones and like provide food just so that they can get a little in on it. I know that it could be really big if I really put everything I had into it. And it could be also really impactful. I mean, one of my goals is to change the image of this industry. And I feel that I can do that one customer, one employee, one shop at a time. It's not going to happen overnight. But things start happening, and being able to like do things like this and just tell people about it, and make it to where automotive, although we're a necessary evil, like, we're still necessary.
Yeah.
So why not make it a little fluffy and beautiful in between? You know what I mean?
I hate that it's a necessary evil. I mean, it is, man.
It is.
It's like, I mean, if you own a service repair shop, I mean, you can empathize with other shop owners because, and that's really one of the key things that I've told my brother over time and the service team here. I'm like, look, when people go in, they're coming in, they're buying a new car, they're buying a new scooter, man, they are elated. They are so excited. Like, being the sales guy that's the fun position.
Yeah.
because people are excited. Oh, I got a brand new car, taking the picture. Like, I mean, everything. Same thing with the scooters. Like, that's fun. But the first time you have to spend money servicing it, it's not fun anymore. You are pissed. I mean, and you might not even be pissed at the service shop. You're just pissed that your tire went flat. You're just upset because the water pump went out. Like, what? I mean, you're just upset because naturally it's like,
well, you have to stop what you're doing,
yeah,
right? I mean, everybody
it's an inconvenience. And then like for you as a service business owner to like put a smile on that person's face, it's a challenge. I mean, it's a challenge. So, like, if you can figure that part out, then you're already a million steps ahead of everybody else because, I mean, it's just a challenge. Nobody wants to spend money on service.
I think it's having an understanding and also having the empathy side of it. You know, when you can be empathetic and you understand, like, I know this totally put a halt in your entire day and it's making you reschedule your entire life, but I'm going to take care of you and I'm going to make sure that we use quality parts so that you're not coming back in 6 months for the same problem. Like, that goes a long way. So you just sell the value more than anything. I mean, the parts cost and the labor, I mean, it is what it is, right? But if you can sell the value on that, I think that's just more, I don't know, more impactful for the customer.
I mean, I think service shops get a bad rep because of the tactics that they use. But I mean, if you provide good service and, you know, do some of the things that you've been doing with your shop and the things that you did to double sales, I think people can leave with a good experience because, I mean, service shop, it sucks to spend money, but I think, you know, they're kind of like doctors. You know, you got to go, and if you feel like they're being honest with you and taking care of you, then I think people are going to have a good experience. And I feel like that's probably the case here at NS4L too. I mean, I think that's one of the things that you focus on, making it all about the customer. So, you know, I don't think it has to be, and I think it's good that you're trying to change that culture and the vibe around it. I think that goes a long way with people.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, let me ask a little bit on the culture side of things, because I have to think that when you buy Dad's business, now you're the owner. I mean, there had to be a little bit of resentment, or at least people being like, all right,
golden spoon kind
boss's
of thing?
Boss's daughter is now in charge. I mean, like, what was that transition like? What happened with the culture? Was there like a culture shock? Did it take people a long time for them to get on board and have the same vision as you did for this place? I mean,
yes.
What happened there?
I think the disruption of that whole situation was everyone was replaced besides one guy. He's been there 31 years, so he's seen me grow up, in essence. I knew that we needed to keep him because he was so good at what he did. Very, like, you didn't have her question his repairs. Master technician, good old country boy, very loyal. And the way that I think that, you know, we could probably ask him about that. I've never truly asked him about that whole transition and stuff, but I'm sure that he looked at me that way. I am sure from day one. I think that over time he knew that I was wanting to invest in, like, you know, most technicians are on flat rate. So he was on flat rate. And at the time the business was struggling, you know, really, really bad. And so I think I won him over by selling and putting money in his pocket. And then I gained his respect and his desire to move and, you know, change the culture with me just by working on it every day and kind of just showing him and talking to him and being really open. When I learned that you can be transparent in the automotive industry, I'm like, what a relief. Like, it just made it so much easier for me because I'm like, sweet, like, let's talk about the numbers. This is where I need to be. Like, these are our build hours goals. So we do like a big board and, you know, everybody focuses on money because it's a business. We can make it great and enjoyable and a fun place to work and impactful for our customers, but we got to make money at the end of the day so we can still be here. So I think once I could just be really super transparent with them, like, that made a huge difference and helped with the culture. And then everyone else I've hired. So I've got 2 guys up front and 4 guys in the back, and I also just recently hired a female. So I'm super excited. She's young, but she's really excited to change and to support me and help me. And she's going to be doing all kinds of different things in the shop. So help a lot with the organization. So I think the culture and all that, I mean, so last year, January of 18, that was like my focus. Like, I'm going to focus on this culture this year and making an impact and getting it to where it's more of a team environment. And it's still a challenge. But, you know, the chief disruptor thing, like, I decided that because they know I'm going to make them uncomfortable. I make them uncomfortable, like, we'll sit around and I'm like, all right, everybody's going to say something really nice about Joe, who's been here 31 years. And they're just like, are you kidding me? I'm like, it's going to be great. Like, it's so fabulous. Let's do this. And so I bring, like, the color side to the black and white of the industry by ruffling feathers, making people uncomfortable. Because when you're out of your comfort zone, you grow. Right? So I focus on that, and I know that in order for us to grow and increase, you know, our sales and everything's increased, we have to grow with that. So if we stayed and kept doing the same things and just kind of came and did our job and went home, like, we're going to go back to where we were. So we have to keep changing and improving and grab everybody, you know, kind of like the mama bear thing, just take everybody with me. So it's challenging. It's really challenging because people don't like change. One of the words I try to use is improvement rather than change, because people like, you know, improvement I think is a more positive word than change. Change is associated with a lot of fear. But as entrepreneurs, we know, like, you have to. It's the only constant. It's the only constant. In business, in life, everything. You have to change. You have to improve your life. So all of those things kind of go in with the culture. And is my culture fabulous? No. It could be better. But it's, you know, a whole bunch of men. It's challenging. Women tend to be a little easier, you know, to, like, look at this, you know, because we can see things in a different light, I think. I don't know. They don't like change. And all of them will tell you that. But
what's been the toughest part of managing? How big's the team?
There's 8 of us.
8 of you guys?
Right, yeah.
What's the toughest part of managing an auto repair business?
There's a lot of moving parts in automotive. One of the issues in automotive is, like, it's almost 2 different businesses. So you have a sales business and you also have a factory, right? So, like, getting everyone on the same page and creating this smooth transition can be very challenging. Hearing all of the sides and, like, doing one-to-ones with my people recently and, like, figuring out, okay, what are some challenges they're having? What are some challenges the front's having? And finding ways to make it work for everybody.
Yeah, that's funny that you say that. I mean, we've experienced.
Yeah, you have a similar situation.
Yeah, I mean, there's been. I feel like we're the most cohesive we've ever been, you know, in 15 years, which is fantastic. Like, team's incredible. But there's definitely been times over our history where there was very much a sales department and a service department, like, where it was divided. I mean, there was a wall between us.
Yep.
And, like, that's one team and this is another, and it wasn't working together as a group, as a complete team, and it took us a while to, like, really get past that and break down that wall.
How do you feel like you did that? I mean, because you focus on the culture, and I feel like culture has a lot to do with that. Like, when you kind of get everybody to see the same vision, in a sense, and you focus on, like, I really want you to enjoy coming to work, like, and create that culture, that does help. But is that what you focus on?
It's 100% getting the right people on the bus and getting the wrong ones off. Mm-hmm. There's no doubt about it. Like, when you and the way you do that is through culture, right? And building culture around a set of core values. Like, we have 12 core values that we run this company on. I mean, it is those are the deciding factors. See, like, those are the things that those are our that's our accountability. I love right? That. Yep. And I mean, like, one of our core values is to embrace and shape change, like being the forward thinkers and you know, not being afraid of what's coming in the industry and being the first to jump on. I mean, that is a core value of ours. So we really try to instill that into our team members. You know, and so we have 12 core values, and I won't run through them all because it'd take me forever. But the other part of that too is really trying to constantly coach our leaders now, right? Mm-hmm. And Mike's doing that more than anybody now because he's the CEO, but, like, constantly training the leaders and making sure that the leaders know what motivates each person, because everybody's motivation is different.
Absolutely.
Right. And that's how you get buy-in. You know, when everybody's on the same page heading in the same direction, like that's what makes a great culture. And you don't have the cancers in there, the people that are holding you back. And it's crazy because the one thing that I've known is the quicker you can get a cancer out, like, you know, and a lot of people fear of the excuse me, a lot of people fear of, oh, we're not gonna have enough help. No, we're not gonna have enough help. We're gonna be struggling. But like, I mean, I've been surprised when I've removed cancers from my organization and I've seen the rest of the organization really step up and really pick up the slack. I mean, it's eye-opening, and the attitudes instantly attitude shift. I mean, everybody's happier. I mean, it's crazy, and don't get me wrong, that's not only. I mean, I know we're talking about company culture and stuff right now, but that's not only within an organization and the team members. I'm talking like with customers too. I mean, I've had cancerous customers where I'm like, I'm sorry, but you're not welcome in my store anymore. Mm-hmm. Please don't come back ever again.
So people don't have that mentality that you can do that. People think, I mean, I've had employees, like I remember I had this Asian girl that worked up front, and this woman came in and just spoke to her, and I'm like, well, did you tell her to get out? And she's like, oh no. I'm like, oh no, you tell her to get out. Like, people you don't get to come here and be disrespectful. Do you know how hard I work and all my people like create this environment, and you can come in here? No way. You're allowed to fire customers. It's okay. Right?
Yeah.
People don't understand
absolutely
that.
Okay. No, I mean,
crazy.
I mean, we've again, I think it's because we've been taught, you know, kind of, it's funny how all these things are kind of interconnecting. You know, we talk about complacency, looking back at how businesses have evolved over the years. I mean, we were taught when I was in, you know, working at a restaurant in college, like, and even in working at McDonald's, even before that, like my first job was McDonald's in high school. Like, I mean, look at that. Like, we were taught the customer's always right. Mm-hmm. And that's just not the case.
No, it's not.
It is not the case. And I mean, every business owner is going to handle that differently, but like there's times where I've heard of women being abused in our facility by men who have come in and just talking down to them and saying, no, like go get me somebody who knows what they're talking about, and stuff like that. Man, if I would have found out about that, I would have been like, you need to leave. Like, this is not a place where that's acceptable.
No.
And usually I find out about it after the case because they just suck it up and they go deal with it, and they get the team gets through with it, and they try to deliver the greatest customer experience they can to that person, even given the fact that person is being extremely rude. Mm-hmm. But anyway, that's
I dealt with those situations.
Yeah, I mean,
on a front counter in a male-dominant industry, it was always like, oh, I need to speak to a technician, or you know, and I'm like, well, they're busy turning, you know, work out and making money. So if I can't help you, I'll find the answer for you. And then it was usually like, well, I have this noise and I'm like, well, you know, let's do a brake inspection or whatever. And once you can take care of it, you kind of knock that wall down. But there's guys, I mean, I've told grown men, like, I obviously am not going to make you happy, and I'm not, you know, qualified to work on your vehicle. You probably should take it somewhere else because they're just a turd. Yeah. And then both the times that I can recall doing that, they're like, oh, no, I want you to. I'm like, well, then stop being an a-hole. Like, yeah. This is what I'm good at, so let me take care of it on this side. Like, you're good at your job, whatever that is. You can do that. When I come into your work, you can, you know, tell me all about it. But
it's tough. It's tough. It's tough to build a culture, like, one, because the culture very much incorporates your customers, and but definitely kind of going back to the team member side. I mean, that's the way we broke down the wall, was continuously focusing on culture. I knew from everything that I learned and mentors and everything, like, culture is the lifeblood. It is the lifeblood of the organization, and without it, you will die. And so everything that I do with both companies is focusing on culture, and that really happened. I mean, those core values, those are the accountability factors that help us achieve the mission and the vision, you know, and it gets easy because it's easy to grab, you know, interns who feel like they're part of a purpose creating something great with a podcast. You know what I mean? Like that, the purpose, like here we are, we're like literally changing the landscape of Gainesville with a podcast. Like that's the vision. Like we're going to make Gainesville even better, because we're going to build relationships, and we're going to keep our talent here, and we're going to recruit talent here. You know, I mean, it's just like when you're constantly telling people that vision, it's easy for people to get on board if it matches them and their values. Yeah.
So I mean, he was so invested. He obviously has so much value in this, and he looks at it as an opportunity and looks at the future of like what it can give to him, and that's just so cool.
Yeah, I mean, also Collin sells the vision really well too. You know, he
I'm a visionary, baby. That's what I do.
Yeah,
That's right.
That's really all I'm good at. It's like I paint a picture and I build the team and I say, go, like, let's do this.
Yeah, I mean, he spoke at one of my classes, and that's how I heard about it. And he seemed passionate, and like he was genuine, and so I was sold on it from him. And I think, you know, when you guys are talking about like the culture and trying to bring people to believe in it or whatever, it's all based on whether you guys follow it too. You know, lead by example. So that's the main, you know, takeaway, because, you know, I see that here when working with you, that you and Allison and everyone else, all the supervisors, you guys are all invested in it. You know, I don't. You guys do what you say you will, and so that gets us to you know that, oh, this is how things need to be done, and it works. So, you
know, it's funny, like even hearing you say that and hearing you talk about like transparency with your team and that kind of thing. I mean, I'm really pushing transparency right now, like really pushing it, and like I said, I think it's what's made this podcast very special, and it's interesting because, you know, last week, I mean, I got home last night and I actually, like, I had a bottle of wine sitting on my doorstep, and I didn't know who it was from. I opened it up and there's a card, and it was from Allison on our team. And it was just very heartfelt and very like, hey, I know that you're going through a super hard time. I just had a really bad week last week. Entrepreneurship. You know, I was just going through a really, really, really bad week last week, and she was just like, words of encouragement to say, man, like, we all believe in you. We believe in your vision. You've got this. Like, thank you for everything that you do. And like, and the only reason that was even there was because of how transparent I had been with her about the things going on. And I think, you know, I'm slowly transitioning out of that because out of the fear of being too transparent, because I think there's a lot of things, you know, that you don't want to talk about with your team members, because you don't want them to be worried about whether or not they're going to have a job next week, or whether, you know, whatever the case might be, you know, from a cash flow payroll standpoint, or just things going on in the industry, in the business, whatever it could be. I mean, it's hard to be transparent with them sometimes. So like, I'm finally, after 15 years, really reaching a place where I'm just like, all right, I'm just gonna, whatever needs to be known is going to be let known. And
there's a balance to it. Yeah.
Well, and you know, like, a lot of people know that I'm really talking, you know, this new company, we've been really heavily invested into personal brands and personal branding, and the importance of personal branding. Mm-hmm. And the one thing that I've learned about personal branding is that authenticity matters. Like, when you're just real, like when you're like when I'm watching somebody's Instagram story and they're sitting there and they're just like being super real and just talking about the struggles or the challenges or what's going on in their life, like I connect with that and I engage with that and I offer like a little support. Say, hey, like, I know you're going through this, but like, you've got this. I've seen you get through this a million times. You know what I mean? And like, but that authenticity and that realness is what connects. And people, because people can empathize, people can, like, they can really put themselves in that position, and that's like one of the most vital parts of a personal brand, is that authenticity piece. And so I've just learned I'm going to be as transparent as I possibly can, you know, in all cases, and just keep pushing myself outside of my comfort zone to keep going another step and another step and another step. But yeah, it's awesome.
One of my favorite, so I recently wrote a blog. I was like, a blog? I don't even know how to do this. So there's the Automotive magazine.
Excuse me.
They had asked me to write, it was like next gen or new gen or something like that. And they just asked me to write something, and it was free, like whatever I wanted to write about. So it's easy for me to write about like my situation, what I've gone through. And then they were like, oh, we need you to write blogs because they're just going digital. No more printing out the magazines. And I'm like super stressed out about it. One, I was not great at writing in school. So like, that's not my forte. I can talk, but like writing it out stresses me out. So long story short, I wrote it and we came up with the name of like Finding My Why is the blog. And then it was January. So I'm like, okay, resolutions, right? People are like, oh, this year I'm gonna. And so I just talked about that and like the transparency of like finding your why and like figuring out who you are and realizing it's okay to be selfish, because people will look at that really negative, right? People think negative when they think of being selfish, but you have to fill yourself up as entrepreneurs because all you're doing is giving everyone else everything you got 24/7. And so if you're not filling yourself and not figuring out what makes you happy, or going and getting your nails done, or going and getting your hair done, or going as a female, or going and playing a round of golf, or whatever fulfills you and makes you happy so that you can give to everyone else, I think that's so important. But in there, I put this quote that I heard from this guy that has dealerships in Tennessee. His name's Carmine. And he came and spoke to this Shop Fix Academy that I'm a part of, just a whole bunch of shop owners. And he said, if you're green, you grow. If you're ripe, you rot. Right? So I'm like, and that just kind of resonated with me. Like, if you're green, you grow just like fruit. And if you're ripe, you're going to rot. And if you're rotting next to all the other fruit that's still green, you know what I mean? Like, you think like so deeply in that. You have to change. You have to realize that you have to keep growing and be green so that you don't rot. That's no fun. Who wants to rot?
Yeah.
You know? Like, that's not enjoyable. That's not a great life. I want to grow, I want to improve, and I want to be the best that I can and impact others and give them the best that I can along the way.
And you're going to. I can just tell. I could tell from the first moment I met you. I was like, she's going to do it. You got any questions, Elias?
Yeah, I did actually. I kind of wanted to go back to when you started working at the shop and taking things over. I was curious, which one of the changes that you made do you think had the biggest impact in like changing the culture and but also increasing sales? Because you talked about, you know, cleaning up the shop, making it look presentable, but also changing the service aspect. So what do you think had the biggest impact?
Saying yes. I realized there was a lot of no's to customers. And when you say no, you tell them you can't work on their scooter or you can't, you know, do certain things. Like, no, I can't get you in for an oil change today. They may come back again because they liked you and like, you know, figure it out or schedule something, but people need it right here, right now, right? Their time is super important to them. So when I started saying yes, like, absolutely, absolutely. And I would overwhelm the shop, you know, and then we would always have work for the next day. When back then, like by 4 o'clock, the guys were just standing around with nothing to do because the word no was used so much. That was huge for the sales. And then making people feel comfortable, like just talking to them, taking them back to their vehicles and showing them what's broken. Like, why can't we do that? It's so much easier. And for me, I think because I didn't know so many things, like, well, let me show them how their brake pads are worn out. Like, let me take them back there. I mean, you can visually see it. They're going to say yes, or their belt's broken, whatever, like the simple stuff. I mean, and I think that's why some of the like chain places will take an air filter and walk out there. But just on the flip side, you know, you always kind of question, like, is that really mine? You can't lie.
You, like literally see it on your vehicle.
Yeah,
it's a difference.
When you go out to the vehicle and you see, and like, and then when you invite people into the area that they don't know and no one ever shows them, it's transparency. Being transparent with the customers, like, they know it's a business. And sometimes you got to remind them, like, this is a business. This is, you know, yes, I want to go above and beyond more than any other place has done for you. And there's times that we do that and we give away things or we make situations right. But at the end of the day, it's a business. I got to make money so I can still be here for you for the next time that your car's broke. So they have to understand that. And I think that nothing's wrong with explaining that to customers sometimes. I mean, like, you know, this is a business. I have to make a profit.
Right.
That's how it works.
Yep.
So I think the transparency side of it, like what we were talking about, has been huge. Like I said, it was such a sigh of relief for me because I am very transparent. I mean, I am. I just kind of talk about anything. I don't.
Yeah.
Is that an angle that you think you try to push for your shop? You know, when you market your shop, do you like try to use that angle with customers, like to distinguish yourself from other places? Like, hey, we're the transparent shop, because I think that could go a long way, because I don't think many other places have that kind of environment. So I think if you try to, tell that to people, like, hey, come to us because we're not going to rip you off, something like that.
I mean, I don't know that we push that. Like, so marketing wise, I don't do a lot. I focus on reviews, because obviously that's very, very important. The biggest, I think, advertisement for my business specifically is word of mouth.
Of course.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is for most businesses, but I know that the word of mouth is reviews. Like, that's everybody, when they don't know where they're going to go, they Google it or they look it up. So I focused on that. And we looked the other day, I think it's almost 4.9. I have like 170 stars, 5-star. I mean, it's up there. And that's because of the transparency. Not that we like push that and advertise that. And then like other marketing, it's just me getting out and talking to people. I focus on like, my customers get, a text from me a couple of days after they've come in, just making sure that they're happy, so that it allows them to tell me if they're not, or if they had a bad experience. Because if I don't know, I can't fix it.
Mm-hmm.
Just like with your employees.
Yep.
If you don't know what's going on, you can't fix it. So I think that without verbally saying transparency and using that word,
mm-hmm.
we've shown our customers that.
Yeah.
Well, and like the business has been around since 1981.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been around a long time, so you definitely build on that. And it's funny because like when people ask me about marketing, because obviously I'm a marketer, like when they're asking me about marketing, I say like that's what we do is fuel more word of mouth.
Yeah.
Like if we're doing our job right, then you're gonna get more referrals. That's the ultimate goal, like because
Right.
there is no better marketing than word of mouth marketing.
No.
There's nothing better. So like that's what we want. We are just throwing logs onto that fire.
And then the business themselves have to, do it right when you're there.
Yeah, of course.
You can feed all kinds of people there, but if they're screwing it up.
Of course, and then like in a service business like this one and like yours, you're gonna have capacity issues too. Like you're gonna reach a point. I mean, do we actively market our service department at New Scooters Plus? The answer is no, because we have so much service. Like sales, yeah, come buy a scooter. We market that all day long. We try to push referrals there all day long, but our service department is usually on a wait. It's because we have so much business coming into the service department. So, yeah, I mean, like it's that, and a lot of it is word of mouth and our customers that have been super loyal and building on that loyalty. So, yeah, those are good questions. Anything else?
No, I'm good.
Yeah. You did a good job, man. Those are great questions.
Appreciate it.
Well, cool. Well, Rachel, thanks again so much for being here.
Thank you.
You're
for
awesome.
having me.
It was fun.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
I really enjoy it because like we share a very common, like similar
There
industry.
is a lot of similarities, yeah.
And it's been, the scooter company just had its 15-year anniversary. It's crazy
So
to think
cool.
that New Scooters Plus is 15 years old. It's
Or that.
mind blowing to
Yeah,
me.
how old you are.
Yeah, seriously.
No, I'm just kidding.
No, seriously. I put that like on my Instagram post. I said, "Thanks, New Scooters Plus. You make me feel old AF."
I love it.
So,
Collin, I want to tell you what you're doing, and like your passion for what you're doing is so cool. You're bringing so much value to Gainesville, and as a person that's born and raised, and obviously I'm not going anywhere. I really greatly appreciate what you're doing, and I hope that other people see that and they learn and gain so much from what you're doing, and the transparency and getting other businesses. And then also maybe, other businesses will hear this and be like, I want to get on there, and ask you, hey, can I get on your podcast? I have some things I want to share or whatever.
It's awesome because in the early day, in the first couple episodes, I'm like, yo, friend, you want to be on my podcast?
Right, right.
I mean, I remember you're like reaching out to Time Payton. Like Time Payton, like episode 1 was literally like, hey guys, I got this new podcast equipment. Do you guys want to like come and just record something? Like, I just want to play with these new toys. I'm like, I just want to play. And we actually just rolled with it. I'm like, all right. I'm like, that was actually pretty good. I'm like, that's episode 1. And I had no intention of being episode 1. We were just playing with toys.
Yeah.
And then when I'm like, all right, I'm going to do this, like, reach out to a few friends, and it was kind of like, like, what are you doing?
Right.
A lot of people were kind of skeptical. We're like, I'm like gonna pass. And now, like, we have application. Like, anybody can go fill out an application. Doesn't mean you'll be selected. Like, we do vet out people. We do
Sure.
like research them. I think there's been times where I've personally gone and visited the guests myself because I want to like look at their business. I couldn't find much online about them, so I'm like really diving in deep.
People, yeah.
I mean because I want to share the best of the best. I want to bring the people who are making you go whoa, and keep putting them on the show and finding more people like that. But the application process, I mean, if for anybody who is listening that would be interested in being on the show, you just go to whoagnv.com and there's a little button that says nominate a guest, and you just click that and fill that out. And but that's what's great is that, I mean, we have plenty of applications to be on the show. Which is fantastic, because now we're able to like really go through those and select people and tell their story. And that's the fun part for me. I mean, especially you can talk about transparency and marketing, like telling the story is what it's about. There's no better way to build personal brand. And when you're sharing the story of the CEO or the small business owner or, whomever, like, I mean, again, we've had authors, musicians, I mean, we've athletes. I mean, we've, but when you just tell their story and you just dive into it, and it's just inspiring. It's inspiring.
Absolutely.
And there's nothing that I like more than storytelling. So,
well, thanks for doing it.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Energy and time to it.
I couldn't do it without this great community and the support that we've had, and companies like RapSpot who have contributed to us trying to build up that exposure. And it's going to be a special year for sure. This is episode 49. I mean, we've almost done a year. Like we're heading into, we got 50, 51, 52, and then, but that's 1 year, man, because we do one a week. So it's awesome to think that it's already a year old, and maybe we need like a celebration or something. On podcast celebration, be like, on to you too.
Get a whole bunch of little poppers and make it all fun and
So,
that's
but
awesome.
anyway, thanks again for everybody who's listening. Where can they like find out more about your business? Like what's like website?
Sure. So our website is cityautorepair.com, CAR. We're on Facebook. We're gonna be on Twitter and Instagram and all that, because we're not yet. Our website's a great place. You can schedule appointments. You can research us. You can see our history, and then just seeing our reviews, and just Google us and you'll see it. But I think that's it. Yeah.
Go check them out.
Go check it out.
Awesome. Well, thanks again for being here. You guys, this is the WHOA GNV podcast, the podcast bringing you businesses and individuals that make you go, whoa. We'll see you later. Bye.